Defeating depression begins during infancy. Yes, during infancy, what every parent needs to know. There are 8 tenets of defeating depression during infancy. The first one being unconditional love. Our children are vulnerable. They need us. In fact, their life depends on it. Without human touch, without human interaction, a child will die. That's why it's our responsibility, and I really believe that it's our privilege to teach them the skills to keep them mentally, physically, spiritually, and socially healthy. That's our job. There are so many people that can't have children, that adopt, that foster, that are step parents, and they also need to know these skills, and many of them have incorporated them into their lives. But again, because of those women who can have children, I believe that they realize that this is an extraordinary gift to be able to raise children. And we need to do it in a way that we will develop in them the skill set that they need, not just to survive, but to thrive. And unconditional love is part of that. Again, it's one of the tenets of defeating depression, which again starts during infancy. Unconditional love is loving without having any strings attached, which is sometimes very difficult to do. And I believe that sometimes parents don't even realize that there are strings attached. And for some disclosure and transparency, I am one of 8 children. And one of the things that I recognized earlier, probably subconsciously, is not even realizing it, is that I received attention when I got good grades, when I was very athletically skilled and performed well, when I brought home a report card that had excellent marks. So all my accomplishments, they spoke for themselves, and I received attention from my parents. So what that created was conditional love, but that was in my mind. And I don't think my parents were aware that that's what I was seeking. And when there's 7 other children in the family, and we're all fairly close in age, it becomes a struggle and a challenge, quite honestly. Fortunately for us, we had grandparents that lived upstairs of us, and grandma, aunt, and uncle that lived next door. So we had cousins that lived next door. So we did have a lot of interaction with others. But there's something special about parents because they are involved in our day-to-day. They know us inside and out, and we depend on them to get all kinds of things from them, including unconditional love. Again, growing up in a family that was so large, I became very performance orientated, where I would try to achieve things to get recognition, especially from my parents, because that was important. And we all need love. We all need unconditional love. And I believe that it was conditioned love that I was getting and seeking. And my parents didn't know any different to say, you don't have to perform for me to love you. So they never said that. In fact, my mama told us that she loved us frequently. My dad told us he loved us more frequently after his diagnosis of cancer, which eventually took his life. So I believe that showing love and demonstrating love to our children is extremely important. There's literature that shows how important it is. And one of the things that we need to recognize is when we discipline children, we need to be very careful that we are not calling them bad, calling them stupid, that we need to make sure that they understand that it is not them that is bad. It might be their behavior that is not appropriate, but it's not them. We need to also model to them our love is not dependent on their behavior. And when we discipline them, we need to choose a time when we're not angry, and we need to be able to express ourselves in a way that doesn't crush their spirit. And the literature shows that we should sit at eye level when we talk to them instead of standing over them like an authoritarian figure. But they also need to know about consequences, and they need to be disciplined in a way that's appropriate for the offense, whatever that is. One of the things that I would tell our sons during our bedtime routine is that there is nothing that they could do that would make me love them more, and nothing they could do that would make me love them less. That they knew that no matter what, I love them. And the other question I had for them was, and if you ever feel like I don't love you, who's changed? What's changed? Who's moved? And initially they would look at me like, what is she talking about? And then over time, as they got older, they recognized that if for one reason or another they felt like I didn't love them, it was them, not me, because I reinforced for them and to them that my love was constant. And the other thing I shared with them, for you that believe in God, is that I love you that much and God loves you even more, so that they would understand that no matter what they did, no matter what they said, that I still love them. The other thing that I find that's extremely important is they need to know they matter, that they need to feel important, they need to feel valued, they need to feel wanted and treasured in your family. They need to know that they are a part of this extremely important family. So consistent training, reinforcing that unconditional love, and modeling that healthy behavior will provide your child with a strong sense of self. And isn't that exactly what you want to do for them and to them? Instill in them what they need to not just survive, but to thrive. So the first tenet is unconditional love, which has been shown over and over again in the literature to be effective and to help shore up and bring someone to a point where they do feel like they matter. So the thought of depression does not even take root in their brain. I talked to one young man and asked him if he had ever thought about hurting himself. And his response was he could never do that to his parents because he knew how much they loved him. So keep that in mind and focus on what is important and what that looks like, that unconditional love.